It's back for another video, taking another quick break from all the CSL videos, here to hit you up with a video for Teambuilding University. Today we're going to be looking at offensive pivots. Offensive pivots are Pokemon generally that are brought out once a Pokemon dies, but they can be brought in on the occasional resisted switch, I would say. They tend to be subpar bulk, but rarely would I call them terribly unbulky. Like, they usually are just decently below average bulk. So they tend to be fast, hit hard. A lot of times offensive pivots utilize some kind of move that allows them to switch out. Not always, but that's just the most part. So yeah, they tend to be prerequisites, usually pretty fast, hit pretty hard. Not the worst bulk, but not usually able to take hits super well, especially the ones that aren't resistant. Let's get into it. Landorus T. Landorus T is actually one of the bulkier offensive pivots, which is why it also functions as a defensive pivot. We'll get into that in some other video. Landorus T, this is the standard Choice Scarf set. Earthquake, Sonage, Knockoff, U-Turn. People don't usually run many other things. I know it learns Superpower, which is an option, but, you know, it's not super common. This is really just the set. This is what you see. And, I mean, it's popular because it's good. It has awesome coverage. Checks a lot of the OU tier. Super fast. What does it hit? Like a 450, like 450, 460, somewhere around there type speed tier, which is going to outspeed all non-mega unboosted. The entire unboosted metagame is outsped, no doubt. And, you know, 389 attack is no joke. That's a solid attack stat, especially coming off Stab. Earthquake is going to hurt. U-turns are going to hurt. Stone Edges, it'll catch a stray Talonflame pretty well. Intimidate is another nice part of addition to Landorus T, because Intimidate lets Landorus T weaken opponents and it increases its physical bulk, along with helping its teammates out a little bit, maybe. Forcing switches helps. So Intimidate is a really useful feature on pivots. Next is Manectric. Manectric and Landorus T form a pretty good core with the Intimidate. They just neutralize physical attackers so quickly. This is a pretty standard set for Manectric. It can run Thunder over Thunderbolt. It can also run Overheat over Flamethrower. Those are pretty much your or Fire Blast over Flamethrower, I mean to say. Well, they're pretty much your options, but this is the standard Manectric set. Full Speed Investment lets it hit 405, which is going to tie things like Mega Lopunny. It's blazing fast, outspeeds the entire unboosted metagame, bar things that speed tie it, and Scarf Users, which is a boosted. So it's the entire unboosted metagame. Again, gets not an epic attack stat, but, you know, definitely usable, can get some solid chip damage, and definitely KO some things that are KO things that are weak to Thunderbolt primarily. It can KO with Fire Blast and Flamethrower. Fire Blast OHKOs, I think, all Ferrothorn variants, while Flamethrower OHKOs non-specially defensive variants, which is, might want to double check that, keep that in mind, but that's also kind of useful. Tornadus T. Tornadus T is, again, not unbulky Pokemon. They all are kind of usable bulk, you know? None of these are just like, you look at them and like, this is paper. But none of them are also that great either. Tornadus T, you know, Life Orb, it's fast, it doesn't take up a mega slot, it's fast, it hits hard. Regenerator lets it keep switching in, which is, Regenerator is what, like, Regenerator and Intimidate, I think, are the golden standard of, maybe also Natural Cure, but Natural Cure isn't really present on any of these guys. But those two, Regenerator and Intimidate, are the golden standard for what helps pivots be pivots, because they can come in, utilize that ability by constantly switching out is what matters for them. U-Turn, Hurricane, Knockoff, Focus Blast, these are all pretty common options. There's a lot of options though. You could Dark Pulse is an option, Extra Sensory. It's got a great move pool. Grass Knot, Heat Wave for Ferrothorn. I'm running, like, it's just got a great move set. Superpower. You can pick between physical offense and the special offense pretty well. I would say usually go for a special offense set, and then I run, I run usually, with this set, I would like to run special offense, and then, because Knockoff and U-Turn are more used for their utility rather than their power, and for that reason, I prefer to use special offense. I think it also learns Air Slash if you want to go something more reliable than a Hurricane, but you are losing quite a little bit of power, along with that chance to confuse, although you are also in return getting a chance to flinch and slightly improved accuracy. Alright, next I'm going to throw up Choice Scarf Magnezone. Choice Scarf Magnezone is actually quite bulky on the physical side, but Choice Scarf Magnezone is a great offensive pivot. Choice Specs Magnezone I would also classify as an offensive pivot, but it's a slower offensive pivot, which is a slightly different role, but it's also a great Pokemon. It's in its own right. Choice Specs usually runs 2 or 52 HP, but they are pretty interchangeable. Movesets tend to be the exact same. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Flash King, and Hidden Power Fire is the staple set on all Magnezone. It doesn't have the greatest move pool, but it uses what it does have. HP Ice is an option, and after that, you're pretty much stuck with what you got. Nobody really uses any other attacks. Like HP Ice, HP Fire is at your discretion, but after that, like it doesn't have a wide move pool. It just uses what it does have very effectively. Magnet Pull is great for trapping Skarmory, trapping Ferrothorn, trapping Scizor. That's mainly what Magnezone is used for, and so like it's super useful. Gets a really great special attack stat. Specs make it a monster to hold. It's not super fast even with a Scarf. I think it hits around 360 something speed, 361 I want to say, although that number doesn't sound right. It hits something around the 360s, so it's still not super fast, but it does outspeed that 110 speed tier, which is really good to know. Plus Flash Cannon does a lot of damage to like a lot of Pokemon at that 110 speed that resist Thunderbolt. Flash Cannon also hits ground types neutrally and usually does a heck of a lot of damage to, like, let's say Landers to you who wants to switch in, or Garchomp who wants to switch in. Next we're going to look at Scizor. Choice Band Scizor is one of my personal favorite Pokemon. It also fills in the role of Revenge Killer, but today we're going to be looking at it as an offensive pivot. I know that if you wanted, you could go for the, I think it's 191 speed tier. Somewhere around here lets it outspeed Heatran. It'll just check on that. This lets Scizor be kind of a check to Heatran, switch in on Heatran and kill it, which is usually gets the jump on people, but you do sacrifice quite a bit of bulk, which Scizor really, really, really requires because it is slow and does need to tank a lot of hits, unfortunately. Bullet Punch Technician is just staple, crazy powerful, fast priority attack. It's like Scizor's Bullet Punch is one of the priority attacks that the OU tier is measured by. Other ones being maybe like Talonflame's Brave Bird. Like those two, I would say, are the two biggest priority attacks. Maybe Choice Band Dragonite Extreme Speed is also a pretty big one. But those, I would say, yeah, those three are probably the staple priority users of the OU tier. Scizor abuses it perfectly. U-Turn just hits so hard. Even if it misses out on the Technician boost. You would also go for Bug Bite, but I would really opt for U-Turn. It misses out on the Technician boost, which is unfortunate, but it makes up for it by giving you that pivot ability, which is what we're looking at today anyways. So I really recommend it. Superpower catches the jump on Okos, Heatrans, and Magnezones who want to switch in on you, which is always awesome. If you switch in Scizor, they expect a Bullet Punch, so they switch into Magnezone. If you can see that Magnezone coming in, you can get an awesome jump on it and really change the momentum of the game very quickly, along with letting your Scizor set up, or not set up, but clear its biggest check, which is Magnezone otherwise. But yeah, it's a great set. I love Scizor. Scizor's also been a staple on so many of my OU teams. Never let me down. I love this guy. Alright, next we're going to look at Raikou. I'm looking at Assault Vest Raikou, but you could also look at Life Orb Raikou. I would say let's look at Life Orb. Life Orb really boosts up Raikou's damage because Raikou doesn't have the highest special attack stat as far as pivots go. 329 is definitely, don't get me wrong, definitely usable. Just not super great. It doesn't scream offensive prowess. 115 special speed, though, screams fast Pokemon. 361 is pretty quick, outspeeds that 110, along with a lot of common really slow Scarfers, it'll outspeed. It hits hard. You can run Auras here, but I think that requires you to run Modest, and in that case you might run Assault Vest. I don't know, that's up to you. Unfortunately, it's still stuck with Pressure. I don't think it learns Volt Absorb yet, which is kind of sad, because that'll help it out a lot. Pressure is kind of a useless ability. Not the worst, I guess, but pretty useless. Volt Switch, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice. You can put Hidden Power Fire here. Calm Mind is an option, but I would say Calm Mind moves away from offensive pivot and starts to move Raikou more towards a kind of win condition and a setup sweeper, which is important to keep in mind because there's a difference there. You don't want to be setting up these. None of these Pokemon, if you haven't noticed, have boosting moves because pivot Pokemon are not there to stay and thus do not need moves that are going to be effective maybe in a turn or two. They need to come in, do some damage, get out. That's how they function. That's what their role is. They're there to grab the biggest concept, which I'll probably talk about in a competitive video sometime. Their biggest thing is to grab momentum. Momentum is a concept in which it's always shifting in the game. It's essentially very dumbed down what it is. is just who has the upper hand in a battle on a particular turn, is what momentum is. I should make a video about that. That would be kind of cool. That's a cool idea. I might start up a series. Yeah, I'll think about that. Maybe on competitive battling strategies, terminology, stuff like that. So, yeah, anyways. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope that was helpful. There's definitely a couple others that you could consider. If I look down, Alakazam's an option, but not the greatest. Offensive pivots, you know, you're really looking for U-turning type stuff. And I mean, Jirachi's definitely one, but also Jirachi functions as a pretty good, pretty good defensive pivot. Mew is one. Scizor can be one if you invest into bulk more, actually. But I would say these are the big ones. And we'll make a defensive pivots video next, and I'll also think about making some videos about battle terminology, battle tactics. All right, thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Kraken Nation out.